And now, a special presentation of the Lunaverse. Merely because we all worked so hard over the past half a year doing that Sonic story. We present to you, for the 30th anniversary of Power Rangers, Lunaverse Galaxy Rangers. Chapter 1 by Trixie. Twilight Sparkle flew off her sheet and crashed into the ground in front of her. The thick black rimmed glasses flew off and hit a nearby seat with a clang. Twilight groaned in pain and searched around with a hoof to look for her glasses, almost blind without them. In a few seconds she found them and used her magic to put them on her face. "What the heck just happened?" Twilight asked. She'd been enjoying a much-needed nap when the train she was on suddenly stopped. Several other ponies found themselves picking themselves off the ground. Twilight was about to leave her seat to figure out what was going on, but stopped when she saw a Pegasus in a black suit and hat with a gold trim enter their cabin.
"Don't worry, folks. Some cows were crossing the tracks and we had to make an emergency stop. We should be starting back up in a few minutes."
Twilight poked her head out the window, and sure enough, a bunch of cows were crossing the tracking, looking both embarrassed and apologetic to what looked like an engineer. Every pony in the cabin relaxed visibly. The train was going to Ponyville, a town infamous for monster attacks. No doubt that was the first thing that came to their mind when the train stopped unexpectedly. It only took 5 minutes for the train to start up again and get back on its way. After a few moments of consideration, Twilight decided to go over to the checklist she had made for when she got to Ponyville, just in case she missed anything. It was unlikely, but she had some time to kill, and she didn't feel sleepy anymore. She was just an important mission after all. It wouldn't do to miss something on her checklist. It was at least another 3 hours until she got to her destination. She looked it over at least 2 times and nodded in satisfaction at the completeness. Ever since she was little, Twilight had dedicated herself to knowledge. She took every class in Princess Luna's School of Magic and got the highest marks. But that wasn't enough for her. Not even close. After finishing school, she decided to travel all around Equestria, seeing and learning everything she could. She'd been everywhere around the land, from Las Pegasus to West Manhattan in the east. Then one day she heard of them. They were the most amazing, spectacular things she ever heard of. About 2 months ago, on the longest night during the festival, Hirana, the deranged Dalacore that used to be Princess Luna's sister, returned after a 1,000-year imprisonment. She turned about to be just as bad and powerful as the legend suggested. Hirana beat her sister, kidnapped the police, and almost destroyed Canterlot. She seemed unstoppable. But then they appeared to beat her. Not permanently, but they beat her badly. They were called the Galaxy Rangers. Technically, that's what we call the Lost Galaxy team, but these heroes appeared out of nowhere shortly after Corona's release, and had strange and reportedly amazing powers. Twilight's pen pal from Ponyville attested to that, and they continued to beat Corona back. She sent many monsters after them, and they beat them every single time. Twilight wanted to see what these heroes for herself, so she stopped her studies and took a train all the way from Vancouver. She wanted to study them and learn how their powers work. If she did that, maybe she could find a way to replicate them and beat the monsters Corona for good. She also thought of all the advances to this knowledge she could bring to Ponykind. Twilight was giddy just thinking about it, and hugged her chest in glee and giggled. She could barely keep herself still of all the anticipation. She decided to check her checklist again. It didn't hurt to be extra thorough. Twilight tried off the train with a grin on her face. She was pulling her traveling bag, packed to the brim with supplies, along behind her with her magic. She left in a hurry, so she had to pack light. It pained her that she only had 30 books in her pack, but she had to make do. She finally arrived in Ponyville. It was a small town, really, only known for its carving community and its location near the Everfree Forest. Twilight looked around the town to make a bare assessment of it. It didn't seem much like much to her. It was quaint and homely, but that was about it. Not really the town you would expect to a home of superheroes. First on Twilight's list was a trip to the hotel to unpack, set her equipment, then to the library. She suspected it might have some books that could help her. The Galaxy Rangers showed up right here in Ponyville on the longest night. Twilight wanted to research if there was any connection between the Galaxy Rangers, Everfree Forest, and the longest night. This is all pure speculation, but it was a starting theory none the least. On her way to the hotel, Twilight spotted something strange. 3 Earth pony mares were hiding behind a flower stand that housed a variety of different flowers. These ponies looked terrified. Twilight decided to investigate. She tried up to them. Excuse me, Twilight tried to say, but the three mares screamed and hung onto a nearby lamppost. They shivered in pure terror and grabbed onto the post with all their might. This left Twilight in an awkward position, and she wasn't sure what to do. I'm not gonna hurt you. The three mares looked down, saw Twilight and sighed in relief. They slid down the pole and got back on the ground. A mare with a pale magenta coat and lime mane sighed in relief. It's just a pony. Just a pony? Twilight asked, really confused. We thought you were another monster. Another one of the mares explained. This one had a raspberry coat and a light amber mane. A monster? Twilight looked around as she saw Axis. Was there a monster around? This actually got her excited. She might see the Galaxy Rangers in action. It's almost midday! The magenta-colored mare explained in a way that really explained nothing. Twilight looked up. Sure enough, the sun was in a position that was about 11:50 or so. Her excitement, she almost missed that it was almost noon. Not that she cared about the old superstition that Corona attacked ponies if they wandered out during midday. That was just for fools, after all, to prevent them from spending too much time in the sun. So, Twilight asked, raising an eyebrow. This is usually the time Corona sends out one of her monsters, the last boy in the group exclaimed. She had a pale yellow coat with a raspberry mane. Really? Twilight said, not in fear but excitement. She went around town and noticed something she didn't see before. All the windows in town were closed and shuttered, and the streets were completely empty. As she looked closely, however, she could see ponies hiding. Some were hiding behind windows, boxes, carts, and carriages, and whatever they could find. Strangely, some were wearing hazmat suits. Do you get one every day? Twilight asked, trying her best to hide her excitement. The three mares shook their head. Not every day, but often enough, the raspberry-colored mare explained, looking around nervously. Twilight almost beamed at this. This was perfect. It would give her plenty of opportunities to study both the Galaxy Rangers and the monsters. All four mares jumped when they heard a scream. There it is! A voice yelled. The group turned and saw it. It was the most bizarre thing Twilight had ever seen. It was walking down a nearby street. It looked like something resembling a carrot, but this one had hooves and walked around on them. It had eyes on what would usually be on top of a carrot. It had a mohawk made out of carrots with a black collar that had carrots instead of metal spikes. Twilight noticed it had spiked bracelets as well on its hooves made of carrots.
It's time to root this party!
The strange creature yelled. He pulled out a guitar out of seemingly nowhere that looked like it was made out of carved carrots somehow and started strumming the strings. Sentai, where the MOTWs are always silly and fun, and I don't have to worry about having to deal with my emotional trauma, being horrified, or suffering something horrifyingly scary. Oh, take me back, Sentai. Just take me home. This created a giant shockwave, and Twilight covered her ears in pain to shield herself from a loud, painful noise. Windows broke with a high-pitched sound. The creature continued rocking out, creating a nonsensical, off-tone tune. Twilight thought her head would explode. The pain was almost unbearable, and Twilight collapsed to the ground. The pain just got worse and worse, and Twilight just lay there completely helpless. The monster on the other house seemed oblivious to this, and continued playing, jumping up and down in excitement while bobbing its head back and forth. Suddenly it just stopped. Twilight's ears rang, but the pain was subsiding. Twilight looked up to see the creature on the ground in pain. Looked up angrily, and Twilight turned her head to see what it was looking at. There was something standing on a roof. Twilight's heart started. It was the Galaxy Rangers. Heroes in the skies! No guts, no glory! No pain, no gain! Rangers on the range! No guts, no glory! Absolutely, positively, no pony listening to this will get that reference. I know, Trix. I know. They were dressed in what looked like some sort of armor. They were each a different color. Red, blue, green, black, yellow, and pink. The suit was almost mostly one color, but had a white vest on it. On this vest was what looked like a constellation of bright white stars that shined brightly. Each one had a different constellation on their suit. The Red Ranger had the constellation of the Ursa Major. Blue had Sinus. Green had Libra. Black had Hercules. Yellow had Scorpio. And pink had Sagittarius. Okay, so I'm guessing yellow's carrot, pink is is uh is Charlie. Black's probably raindrops, which means red is Derpy, and green is Lyra, and blue is Trixie. Wait, what? That's Trixie Chat. She is the leader in this story. So she be red? Ha! You would think so, Trixie. But may I remind you, in some Sentai, red is not always not always the focus character. True. Their helmets had a black visor with a yellow star around it. On their hooves were white boots that also had a yellow star in front. The blue and red rangers were unicorns, and they had a horn on their helmet. The black and pink were Pegasi, with strange smell wings that were almost skeletal, and were wider and sharper than normal Pegasus wings. Lastly, green and yellow appeared to be earth ponies. Oh, I guess I was wrong. I mean, I just figured, Lyra's kind of the second command, so it would make sense, true, but I was just thinking, pink would match Shirley's coat more. There's something feminine about the designs of the suits. Their muscles and body type suggested they were all female. The last thing Twilight noticed was a belt around their torso with some strange golden and black device on it. The Blue Ranger was holding a bow and an aura of blue magic that matched her color, and looked like the monster was glaring at the pony. He yelled something, but Twilight couldn't hear what it was saying with her ears still ringing from the earlier attack. Twilight didn't really care about that. She was too focused on watching the Galaxy Rangers filled with pure amazement. Blue shot an arrow made of brilliant golden energy at the monster. The monster used his guitar to block it. The Galaxy Rangers jumped down on the ground and landed right in front of the monster. Okay, everybody, this is, our first big battle, so it's time to do the traditional Sentai thing. Opening credits. Ding! Badass opening theme. Ding! Ooh. And, of course, some fancy sparks. They struck a pose, striking their hooves forward, ready for battle. The monster raised his guitar and hit it with his strings. A sound and wave appeared directed at the Rangers. Yellow jumped in front of the wave and blocked it with a shield that appeared out of nowhere. The attack was a sword to the shield that disappeared, only to be redirected back from the front of the shield a moment later. Sparks erupted from the monsters. It flew back, corrupting in its chest in pain. The second layer got up, although with a little difficulty. The Rangers took advantage of this and charged into attack. Red pressed a button on her belt, and a sword appeared in her hooves. She swung it at the monster, and sparks appeared when contracted. Pink and black pressed a button, and a staff appeared in Pink's hooves, and a hammer in Black's. Ooh, individual weapons! We haven't had these in ages! Pink swung her staff, but the monster was able to duck in time, and the weapon hit Red right in the face. It was moving behind the monster. Red was sent flying into a nearby cart, crashing into it. Pink's body language shows she was horrified and stood there stunned, and received a blow in the chest from the swing of the monster's guitar for her trouble, instead of flying back. Black was also stunned by what happened to Red, but quickly got her bearings back and swung her hammer at the monster from above. The monster tried to use his guitar to block the attack. It was blocked, but the creature was sent back a few steps. Green was also moved for attack, but didn't summon her weapon like the others. She struck the creature with her hooves and recoiled in pain at the blows. It was too stunned to block or dodge Black's hammer, and ducked his guitar before it could block the blow. It howled as the powerful blow hit it right in his chest and collapsed to the ground. Black and Green moved aside, with Black pulling Pink away from the monster, much to Twilight's confusion. The reason became apparent quickly, as Blue pressed the button on her belt again, and the energy gathered around her bow and went into the string. Blue, for some reason, took the bow in her hooves, stood up on her hind legs, and pulled the bow back. Omega Aeroclassa! Blue yelled as he let go of the string. An arrow, all the colors of the rainbow, released and struck the prone monster trying to get up. Blue cleared around and started trotting away from the creature. The monster exploded in a giant fireball. When the smoke cleared, all was left were pieces of carrot. Ahem. Dear people who are listening to this channel, I would like to demonstrate that this is how you make it work. You see all this? You see? This is how you do it properly. When Mikan does it in Starfleet, all he does is have them say their attack names and hope and pray that the stock footage shows up. He doesn't describe it. He doesn't tell you about it. So the attacks don't have any oomph. Also, he doesn't make the attacks seem dynamic enough. He seems to forget what makes the Ranger fights interesting and fun. All the ponies cheered and stomped their hooves or whooped. Twilight stomped her hooves in approval. This was more than she ever imagined. She'd never seen such power in her life. She had to study it. Red got out for the cart, dusted herself off, and the other Rangers ran to see if she was all right. Twilight rushed in. She had a million questions to ask. First, she had to examine the belts. However, before she and any other ponies could get close, the Rangers teleported away. They just disappeared in a beam of light into the sky and were gone. Twilight stood there stunned. Yeah, they always do that, the magenta-colored mare said. Never give you enough time to get an autograph. The mare sighed. Oh well, Twilight thought. I'll just have to figure out who they are. Twilight suppressed her excitement. First, she decided to change her plans a bit and do interviews and learn what she could from the townsfolk. She already had a good cover story plan. It's awful! It's horrible! What, another monster? Twilight exclaimed. The pot of lilacs has just been knocked over. The pale yellow coat yelled dramatically. She pointed to a potted flower that had been knocked over and was now lying sideways on the ground. A little bit of its dirt falling out of the ground onto the ground. 3 collapsed to the ground and looked like it passed out. The horror! The horror! The raspberry-coated mare exclaimed. Now, you might be wondering why I tolerate that, but get angry at the whole entire Lyra hands thing. We don't get hit with that as much on this channel. Twilight watched in bewilderment as the 3 mares twitched on the ground. I really need to get going. Good luck with whatever it is you're doing. Twilight let the scene confused about what just happened. Corona watched her on a crystal ball as the ponies, known by the mortals as the Galaxy Rangers, shot down her newest creation. Thank you. She gave a story of irritation. Not that she was surprised by the failure, but that it did so little to its enemies. They had grown so powerful. Corona doubted 10 of her monsters at once could best them now. Every encounter seemed to make them more powerful. Corona resisted the urge to smash everything in sight out of frustration. The Queen of the Sun was sitting in the study of her castle. It was well furnished with a rich red couch and matching chairs. In front of the couch was a table with a crystal ball on it. The room had bookshelves of old books and tomes, some of them forbidden and full of knowledge best forgotten to time. But Corona liked to keep that knowledge nearby just in case. The walls had pictures of long-gone friends, lovers, of her sister and her sister as fillies. You know, normally I'd give Corona my Lord Zed voice, but just because it's the 30th, we're going special. No! That would help nothing! Corona thought as it would destroy her favorite furniture. She would just need to think of a better way. Still, she did get some pleasure out of ruining that orange-maned Ranger's prized carrot. It seemed she planned on entering it at a fair and had grown a impressively sized carrot with her earth-pulling magic. Not anymore. It had been destroyed by the very one that grew it. Even if it didn't win, transforming into a monster was an amusing sight. Corona stepped off from her sitting position from a large, comfortable pillow and started pacing around the room. She needed some way to make her creation stronger, since her current method wasn't working. If using an object with the power of a star beast wasn't enough, perhaps using an animal would make it more powerful. It was a gamble, though. She had attempted it for 3 reasons. 1, the will of the creature might, whatever your magic Corona used to controls to do it. The power of the star beast might amplify that will. 2, in her studies of the spell, she had never seen a case of it used on an animal or some pony. She had no idea what the result might be. And 3, it was a cruel thing to do to any creature. Corona spent the next 10 minutes pacing and debating the issue in her head. She was desperate, and she needed an edge. As cruel it would be, if it worked, the sacrifice of one creature won't be so bad. After all, getting her incompetent, misguided sister off the throne and defeating her rangers would be worth it. Spike! Corona yelled. the baby dragon and dutifully entered and bowed respectfully. Yes, my queen! Spike said with some quaver in his voice. Oh no, he gave me Babu's voice! Yeah, dessert. Your queen deserves a 2-layer chocolate fudge cake with chocolate ganache frosting. Make it post haste! Corona ordered. Spike bowed again. Yes, my queen majesty, sir! He let to do as he was ordered. Corona decided to think it over as a snack. She briefly thought of using Spike as a test subject, since he proved quite useful as muscle, when she aced him back on the longest night to attack Trixie and her friends before they became the Rangers, but dismissed it quickly. He was too valuable to waste. No one made a 2-layer chocolate fudge cake with chocolate ganache frosting like he could. His culinary skills were excellent, and Corona would be a complete fool to sacrifice him. He was so very good at keeping her little castle on the moon tidy. No, she would keep him as delicious cake close for centuries to come. It didn't take Spike long to bring the dessert to perfection and bring it on the table. Corona nodded to Spike. You may go! Spike nodded again and left the room with haste. Sadly, Baby Dragon was always scared around her, a behavior she would have to fix. Corona dove her face into the cake and moaned in pleasure. She licked her lips and did another dive into the cake. She decided she would have to make a sacrifice. A pony seemed preferable since her natural magic would make the star beast even stronger. As soon as she was finished, she would contact her spy in Equestria to find a suitable candidate. The time for games was over. Dum bum bum!